everybody. Come on in, have a coffee or a tea. I got some cookies too if you want cookies. Anyway, here we are, just hanging out, joining my friends in these strange days. So today I want to show you, I'm going to do a video here and a video in front of the other window, show you my orchids, talk about them, and oh, I brought...
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I brought... Later. Go night night. I brought the bird in from the patio. We got him when the teenager grandchildren were young, and he sits out there all lonely and it's cold. So I brought him in to liven up things a little. So anyway, let's get started. Hey Maggie, Maggie's a good girl. Yeah, Maggie's here too. We're all here. Jack's there somewhere too, hiding for now. But maybe in the future. So let's show the orchids. Now here's an interesting thing. The ones in this room are all started to open, are open. Why do you think that is when the ones in the other room are just starting? And I'll tell you why. Because this is where I do more cooking, the lights are on more often. Both windows get good light from the west side, but this room gets warmer when the oven's on, the lights are on, and what do we know? Warmth. The more warmth, the quicker they're going to open. When it's cooler and they're fully open, then they're going to last longer if they're not real warming. So anyway, let's have a look at them because some people ask about different pots and different things. So let's have a look at each of them. Just ignore him. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I put it on this circular thing so I can show you all angles. So this is a terracotta saucer. The holder is an old fondue thing I got at the thrift store. And of course, I think I've told you before, but this is a lamp. If it was upside down, the top is the base, and the bottom where a hole comes out is where the pipe went up for the lamp. And Jack drew some holes in, and because the base kind of tapered in, he did cut part off. And it's terracotta, and I never painted it. This is the color it was. So sometimes when I pick pots, I pick them to match the flowers that I'm putting in them. So this one is in full bloom, and when I'm in the kitchen, this is the beauty I get to see. And when I don't want anyone to know I'm playing with my orchids, I'm in my camouflage shirt. So that's that one. So we'll put it back. And okay, this one is a smaller traffic cone, not a dollar store traffic cone, but a smaller size one. And when I water it, I quite often just take it out. And I did a dirty pour on it, and that was the paint job I did. And so there's bark right to the bottom of this one with a little screen on the bottom to stop it from going through. And it's clinging, so it's happy. It's only got 3 flowers, this one, but it did get repotted this year. It's got healthy leaves, but it just didn't have the energy to do more flowering. And also, the warmer your room, the more likelihood of more flowers. And the cooler your room, not so. So, good night. So, so if you've got a special room, you can keep your temperatures just right. But by the window, it's definitely cooler than the rest of the house, except when the oven's on. So, so this is this one. It's quite healthy. Beautiful flower. So that's what that one is. Now, I didn't really match this flower pot to the orchid, but it is just a normal flower pot that Jack drilled holes in. And this is Moonglow, my second oldest orchid, and she's just beautiful. Early days, she did have a keiki. She'd got, Carolyn left it over 3 years without repotting it, and so she did go on a downslope, but now she's perked up. Her leaves are very firm leaves, and they're starting to come wider. So now almost all the orchids have been repotted last year, so they're good for a few more years, especially in bark, because this is just bark now, and it drains so quickly, and it has lots of air space. So that's that one. There we go. Now, probably not getting the flower in. I'll make sure oh, there we are. Yep, just. Okay, so this is a paint can that Jack took the handle off, and the rim, and I've had this since I first had orchids, and it
whatever.
No, that is the truth. I've had it since I just first got orchids.
Excuse me.
I guess so. Honey, are you fooling around? Because I'm trying to show my orchids here. Tell them to go to sleep. So this is a paint can. I like this size of hole better, the big holes. And they get lots of light, so they actually photosynthesize. So, can you turn them off, please? So, these flowers are almost photosynthesis. They're not photosynthesis. He's driving me crazy. I'm gonna unplug them in a minute. Okay. They're almost fluorescent, these flowers, and they are beautiful. So even though this one, it was in a top, one of my white stand, the traffic cone, when it fell, it lost 3 leaves, and this one, of course, I cut off, but now they're coming fine, and the flowers are beautiful, so that's what that one is. There. Now, let's see. That one's hanging by an aerial root. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Now, let's talk about these. There's that one. Okay, you know, that's probably more trouble than a live bird. But anyway, we told him to go to sleep, and we assure you he is gone to sleep. Okay, let's talk about the wire baskets. Now, all these were garage sale finds, and the one I got last summer was a tea light holder that had a metal tea light holder in the bottom, which Jack just pulled off. And it has a little handle, which I'm not using, because I just hang it like this. And this is Early Bird. Early Bird was the first one to flower. She's already flowered, and this is it. So what I found with these is I use that cocoa fiber matting. They sell it in a roll. I think I've used all I've got, but a tiny piece. And I just put it around. It helps hold moisture in. So these seem to stay humid because of that, and they would dry a lot quicker because they're small, and probably be too dry if I didn't do that. So these get no middle of the week watering, even though they're in small containers, because the cocoa fiber seems to make the difference. So there. And even this little one. Now, because it hangs, I sewed a little piece of the matting onto the top here that's sort of been wearing off, but it helped keep the bark in when it was hanging on its side. But they love these, and they'll be easy to repot. So I've been very happy with them. So that's that one. And we'll just put it back up. There we go. And this one's been in flower for a while. It's very happy in this. It's a more medium-sized basket. Lots of aerial roots. I love the aerial roots. It's what they want to do. They want to go right through the matting and come out. And I just let them. So, there we go. Okay, what ones? Oh, and I have the basket that I just did, on the last video. I have it on a stand here. Now, this one. Now, I got this one. I was trying to remember. I don't think it was last summer. I think it was the summer before. And I shouldn't date them. You know, you really shouldn't date them. I'm not a list maker, or I'm not good at it. If I make a list, I usually forget it. So anyway, I do have my videos, and I often go back and look at my videos to see how the roots looked or whatever happened. But I have a pot when we go to the other room that I want to show you, that as soon as this one's through flowering, I'm going to move it into a bigger pot, and a surprise stand that we just did the other day. I just love this one. You know, the petals are rounder on this one. It's the same color as this one, but the petals are round. And anyway, this is the plan. I think this orchid will grow bigger, wider leaves and more flowers if I put it in a bigger pot, and I'll show you what I'm going to use next. So, when it's real bright outside, I face them towards that side. But when I feel it's brighter inside, I usually turn them towards the kitchen, and they get bright from there. Now I have, this is your normal porcelain orchid pot. I do fine with these. Just bark in there. And this one's just starting to open, and it's actually got a twin that's the same color here. And I've stuck a little glass thing in here because I'm trying to straighten this one a little bit. So they're twins. They're in the same type of pot. They're both doing good, and they're about the same color. That's why I call them twins. So, there. Have we done them all? I think we have. We did moon glow, yes. Oh, except this is my oldest orchid that I had her so long. Her monopodial stem was at least this long. I did a video where I cut it off and get the baby. There is good news about the baby. So there, when I cut it off, the bottom part, the top part is still in this pot, but the bottom part, which goes from there and kind of bends under here, I kept it all hoping more roots would grow, and it never had any leaf. So can you get a plant with no leaves to do something? Yes, patience. So there's the mom. She's getting healthier and better all the time because I left it on way too long. It was causing problems. So she's doing really good. So she'll probably get moved up to a bigger pot, but I do want to show you a close-up. I'm getting a root finally. I was wondering if I would actually get a root, and I'm hoping you can see there's a tiny little root coming. Because she's been living off of the old roots that were still on the stem that I cut off. So, whoops. Okay, so I'm just going to go get set up in the other room, and I'll be back in a minute. I'm back. We're set up in the other room. They're all a little slower here, but I still want to show you. So this will be going on for the next few months as they're all going to be flowering. So, oh, just a minute. I forgot my stand. Oh. There we go. I always forget something. Okay, so, of course, first, everybody is used to seeing the sewer pot. So I call this a Monet pot. So this has been flowering for years since it was first done many videos ago. Got repotted last year. I just left it clinging and shook all the bark out and tapped new bark in. So all three have flowered every year. So I'm happy with it. So this was just a 3-pronged sewer pot. I call it a sewer pipe actually, that Jack put a weight on the bottom, and there's wire in here to stop the bark from going through, and drilled holes in it, and he just did some quick, it's a black pipe, just some quick dots of paint, and made this like a Monet painting. So that is what I always call the sewer pot or the Monet pot. Now, I also did that to a smaller one, and I did a dirty pour paint job. I did the video of when I painted this. It's a very hard, firm finish, and it has stayed through many soaks in the bucket of water. Now, these are all species that I ordered maybe 3-4 years ago, and the Herald Red Circella, she has bloomed. She isn't in bloom right now, but I have had blooms from her, but these two, never had a bloom from them. Whether I should put them in 52 degrees to get them to do something, I don't know. The root system is good, but as far as the rest goes, nothing but maybe. So I could put them in the fridge or something at night and then bring them out in the day because it's not too big. Maybe I should try that. Do that for 2 weeks, put them in the fridge. About 52 degrees Fahrenheit, that'd be a really nice temperature. Seems to have worked for the Dendrobiums. And seeing I said that, let's talk about the Dendrobiums. Okay. Now, these are species because I ordered 2 Dendrobiums, many years ago from the coast. Not knowing anything about Dendrobiums, but this one here is Dendrobium Oriental Smile Fantasy. And the thing is so old, I just broke it. I do have the records of when I bought it. It was just a tiny little thing. And it's been growing really good. I have never had a flower off of this. It's in, maybe I'll take it out of that container. Now acrylic paint, they put in these plastic, if it's oil they probably use tin, but acrylic paint comes in these plastic containers and you wash them all down. Jack took the handle and the rim off. You can see where the handle was. And that's what this has been in. And it's in bark. It's in large bark, and there is some charcoal in here also, because it's a little tighter in there, and this is from years ago when I was adding a bit of charcoal. So there is a bit of charcoal and bark. That's what's in it. And so for the first time this year, I thought, well, I've had no flowers, and it worked for the cymbidiums. So in the fall, late fall, when it was going to be too cold on the patio where they were all summer, I put them out on the top of the greenhouse. The warmest, probably that it can be about 50 up there, closer to the root. So they're not going to freeze. But when I went out there, I saw something happening. I hope they're not keikis, but I think I'm counting at least 14 little buds. So it was like, when do I bring them in? But first I'll show you. See if I can get this in here properly. There's lots of little buds. I think I counted 14. That one. And there's some on this older one. And this one over here, it has some. Now, these 2 little ones, I don't see any on them. And this big, the latest spike, I don't see any on that one. So, now, you people that can grow dendrobiums, maybe you can tell me. I hope they're flower spikes. The other one, I had a keiki and I took it off because I didn't want it to do anything. One other year I had 2 keikis, and this year I thought it was a keiki. It was one and I took it off. So we'll look at that one. So this one has never flowered for me since I got it as a tiny little baby, but it has a new little sprout coming out and very healthy looking. It's on the same watering schedule as the orchids, except in the spring when I change to a higher nitrogen, first number for the Phalaenopsis, I keep a more even number for these. Maggie, no barking. No. No.
Maggie, come here.
Hey, Maggie can bark sometimes, but I don't like to put the collar on her.
Get
She won't.
Get
No, now she's being called away, so that's good. So I'm going to show you the other one. This one now. It's an exciting day with our pets today. The electrical pets and the normal pets. But we love our little Maggie. But if somebody goes by. So this one, it flowered with 3 flowers. I got pictures of it on the video. They were beautiful. So last year, I had 3 flowers. I hadn't put it in the greenhouse. It just had 3 flowers and that was it. So I also put this one out and I have to show you different places. The same thing. And this is just in an old Tupperware container with holes drilled in it. And if I can get a close-up here. It's hard to, there we go, see if I can get that in there. See, this is where I pulled the keiki off, but there is some new bumps coming. There's one here, and there's one under this leaf. There it is. And the same on the other side. There's also some bumps coming. So, yeah. And I seen them somewhere else. Okay, here's where I only took one. I thought it was a keiki. It was early and I took it off. But I see bumps coming on this one now. See if I can get them in there. I got that. So I see some happenings. Whoops. There is some happenings on this one. So we're hoping, because we got 2 stems with happenings on here. The older stems, I don't see anything. And the biggest stalk, I don't see anything. So I'm hoping it's going to get pretty exciting around here when they flower. So this one is Spring Smile Lovely Paradise. Whoops. Luckily I got that written. I kept the receipt when I got these. So they do like the humidity. I'll get them the way I keep them after. So I have my fountain up there, and my daughter says, the mist goes down, Mom, so that's why most of my fountains are above with the cool disc vibrating, sending out the fog that comes down, because they do like humidity. And I'm keeping it about 62. We haven't had rain or anything for a while, so I've got 1 on the top and 2 on the bottom, and a fountain here. So I have to show you this new pot. Now, at a garage sale, see this. This was a candle stand for $5 a few years ago at a garage sale. And then we put a glass top on it for a table. And it broke. It got cold out in the patio where it was. So Jack made a little, I'll tell you, I've had this pot. It's a hammered copper pot I got years ago that I've never made use of. And I thought, well, it'd be nice just to set an orchid in it. So Jack made a little metal stand to hold the pot. And so the pot sits there quite nicely, and I can put an orchid in there. And the orchid I got is this one. It's doing well, and it's ready to bud, just a little further behind what the ones in the other room are doing. And you have to remember when you put your orchid pot inside another pot, you're also holding more humidity. Sometimes just a day or two after watering, I don't have them in the pot, and then later in the week I put them in the pot, and they do hold their humidity better. So this is my oldest traffic cone, and it's also in bud and healthy. So I'll show you a little close-up when we finish. And I have the white traffic cone. This is the one that the orchid that fell and got damaged was in. So this one's also in bud. It's going to be very beautiful here soon. And let's discuss this one. So this one is also in bud. Now this, we had a heater out in the greenhouse. This is the base of it, and then it went up and tapered up, and it was plastic, and Jack said, wouldn't that make a good orchid pot? And that was after it had broke, and he saves as many pieces of things as he can. And so he drilled holes in it, and I did a dirty pour on this. It's a beautiful finish. I'll show you a close-up. And this is the orchid that quite a few years ago the Salmon Arm Garden Club asked me to come and do a little lecture on orchids. So I went, and this is the one I had just gotten put in this pot. So it's doing really well. So it's ready. Pretty soon they'll be opening. I find after watering they quite like to open, and I've also found that in the evening they open. So they get more humidity, the ones that are in the windows. And then last Valentine's Day, this was my big lip. I put it in this pot. It's happy in this pot. And this leaf was half broke off when I potted it and turning yellow. It's slowly turning yellower, but this is the last leaf. It grew a little bit bigger than the others, a little longer. So I think it's happy. I wasn't really expecting it to flower. It flowered, of course it was in flower on Valentine's last year, but it was also in flower for maybe 3 or 4 months, and so it hadn't had long of a rest, and I think that is part of the reason why it doesn't have as many flowers. But I am going to let it flower, and I'll probably not let it stay on too long, and then this year it will get its full rest, and next year, because it's had that full rest, it'll be stronger, healthier, stored more energy for a big flower stalk. So that's the big blip. No name, of course. Now, I have this as a little dollar store traffic cone, and they're fine, and I just did a regular paint job, and the paint job on this didn't stand up as good as some of mine. But this one, it did, some of you say, why did my orchid, blow a bud? Well, it probably didn't store enough energy in the growing season, didn't get enough light, maybe just didn't store enough energy for it to keep growing, or, and I think the case with this, it had dried out too much. And it was too dry to do that, because I see there's more coming now. And that's why I put it inside another pot, because it's small and it will help hold the humidity. And it's near this fountain. It's not a mister. I could put a mister in it. I haven't. So this is the table where I keep my sad orchids. The only other species that I own is this one, and it's also a dollar store traffic cone. The paint job on this one stayed really good. It's Fel Memoria Rete. Now, Here But Not also had one of these, and when I first got it, it came from where I got the two slipper orchids and the Dendrobiums, and they don't have fells there. And even though this is a mini fel, they do not have phalaenopsis, the normal hybrid ones or species. They have mostly slipper orchids. So it just never got happy all the ways I had it. I thought that being it was thin-leaved, because they say if they're thin leaves they need more light, and if they're thicker leaves they don't need as much light because they're like solar panels and they have more area to store energy. So this one, it always flowers late. It never flowers early, so I'm thinking I'll still get a flower. But it took me a while to realize, well, let me see, you know, they have phalaenopsis, no big ones, but they have this. Probably because they're raising it like a slipper orchid. And I think I was right, because I put it way more to the shade, and it's way happier. The leaves are looking good. It has some nice root growth. So this is another garage sale find that I put the traffic. Anything that looks like it'll hold a traffic cone, I'll pick up. So that one now, the sun comes from the west. This side will get, like I could put orchids over here. This side will get more sun than right here where this table is. And that's one reason this is here. So that's a sad one. I have another sad fel here. I'm not going to let this one spike. It's just, it struggled to have 3 leaves. And so it's being babied while it grows a little more, gets a little healthier. So I do always have this baby's table. And my 2 slipper orchids, whoops, I did the same thing with them. I put them in another pot to hold the humidity because there was holes in these, and these holes probably weren't necessary. So now this one is perked right up. So this one's doing good. So hopes for that. But the other one, it is now, but it wasn't doing that great. But I see a new leaf coming, and there's a new leaf coming in there, right in there. But this one's dying off. And it doesn't have the growth of the other one. So, patience, patience. So there we go. Oh, there's one more there. Easy to forget. I'm trying to sort of make more room. Shh. So if I see a really special orchid or hear of one, I have room for it. So this will hold a new orchid, and I have a new pot in there. That's not staying in there. So this is a 2-sided sewer pot that I planted last year. It was in the summer. And one of them, the roots weren't too bad. They were both in compacted moss. And this one has picked up a lot. But this one has been struggling. It sent out this very poor, small, but it will come. I know that from experience. I'm not fooling around, moving it around. I just give it a green tea soak, and I give it a seaweed. So it's getting roots. I have checked, and they will be fine. It's just some, you really don't know how long they've been in that moss when you bought it. And you don't know how much damage has been done. And sometimes the roots may look firm, but they're really not just doing their job. Meg's playing with her toys. So that's about it. And thanks for joining me and my pets today. And I don't know how you're coping, but hang in with me and we'll make it together. And it's rough sometimes, but we can do it, and enjoy your hobbies and just sink yourself into them and just enjoy them, or find a new hobby. So that's it for now. Let's see if I can get a picture of Maggie on the floor as we go. There, sorry. There she is. There she is. Yeah, she's a happy girl. Okay, bye everybody.